Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's up? What's up?
It is Saturday, and y'all know what time it is. It is time for us to get busy. Oh, Sean, how you doing?
Happy weekend.
I'm
What's
doing
going on,
good.
ladies?
How you doing?
Pretty good, and so.
I'm
Doing good. Doing good.
doing great. Doing great. So, Sean, how you been?
I've been good, girl. Just going to another phase of life. I'm liking this new phase, though. I'm liking it. I think it looks good on me too. So
I
how
mean,
have you been?
if that's the reason for that glow, I'm loving it too. How about that? Okay. I'm here. I'm here. You know, I'm trying to hit strides, and I'm gonna make it though. I'm gonna make it. You know, it's a
You better
marathon,
make it.
right? It's a marathon. But
You
we
are
have got
gonna make
a
it.
show. But look, we have got a show for our listeners tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about daddy issues. And we have two phenomenal speakers that are going to help us get into this topic.
Yes.
Bust it wide open. We have Coach T Spice, and we have none other than, y'all ready for this? Angelica
I'm
Watters,
ready.
host of the podcast show Heal with Angelica, and she is the author of Heal Yourself. So we're going to bring them
Yeah.
out, and we're going to let them tell us a little bit about themselves, and then we're going to get into it. Hi, Angelica. You're muted. Okay.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey. So
Hello.
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
so how you feeling
Good. And how
tonight?
are you?
I am blessed. I'm blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. I am super excited.
So
Well,
you want
we're
to
the ones we are excited
Oh,
to have on the show.
yes. So you
yes.
want to tell our listeners something a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Yes, ma'am. Well, my name is Angelica Watters. I am the podcast host of Heal with Angelica Watters podcast. I am also a holistic wellness coach. I am an energy healer. I do a lot of things. And I'm a mommy to my
Okay.
beautiful 1-year-old.
Oh,
And
yay.
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So I focus on the whole person. So I love holistic health, holistic wellness, everything that has to do with the whole person. So yeah.
You tell us a little bit about your book.
Yes, yes. So Heal Yourself. I created the ebook. It's a 37-page ebook where I just give people just um, certain situations that certain scenarios I can say that happens in life, and just try to guide them into the best way to help themselves get through those scenarios. So yes, I'll talk about just the value of knowing yourself, the value of forgiveness when it comes to healing, because it was some of those things that I had to go through. Definitely the biggest one for me was learning to forgive myself, and then forgive others, and also knowing thyself, when I was able to take the chance to know thyself more, I was able to better heal myself because I knew what it was that I needed to heal. Everyone's different and everybody has a whole different healing journey. So, but this ebook is definitely something that can jumpstart you on your healing journey, because with the ebook, I also have a 12-week intense healing program, coaching program, where I get one-on-one with you, where we get deep into the healing. So
Yeah.
I got that going on courtside with the ebook just to get you started.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yes.
excellent.
Okay, that's excellent. And next, we're going to bring on Coach T Spice. Hey, Coach.
Come
Am I?
on.
Hey, yes, indeed. I'm here.
So,
Hey.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having me.
thank you for joining us tonight. It's our
Yes.
pleasure. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Our
Yes,
you want to,
pleasure.
yes, you want to tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
absolutely, absolutely. So I am Coach T Spice. My full name is Talmadge Spicer, right? I go by Coach T Spice on the socials, and I'm a mindset coach on a mission to inspire and empower 1 trillion people to live a life by design instead of by default. I do that with
Yeah.
one-on-one coaching, group coaching.
Okay.
I have some online courses that people are getting great results from. But in addition to that, I'm also the host of my podcast as well. We're all podcasters.
Yay.
Today, my podcast is called
Ah,
The Mindful Moneymakers.
Ooh.
And the purpose of the podcast is really to bring people on and give all the tips, tricks, and mindset shifts you need to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. And finally, I'm an author. I'm an author as well. I've written a couple of books. My first book and my main book, my motto, my lifestyle is called "Have the Guts to Follow Your Guts." Why playing it
Ooh.
safe is
I
the
know
biggest
that's
risk
right.
of all, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yes, indeed. We are on a mission. You
I
guys are
love
part of the
Yes,
it.
that's
mission.
I love it.
good.
Oh, yes, I
Yes,
love it. We love it. Okay. Well,
I do
so
too.
Tally, you want to tell them who you are, because we've already met briefly, so we know what we are and who we are. So I'm sorry,
Okay.
Sean. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well, my name is Sean, and basically, Nisi and I are cousins, but on more than that, we had a vision. And on this journey, we wanted to make sure that we were instrumental in empowering and providing education and things that kind of fall in the same scope as you all. We didn't say heal, but we wanted to be able to transform people's lives. So, that's why I'm a part of this journey. But as far as me, I am a licensed professional counselor. And when I said that I'm entering a new stage and journey in my life, I am beginning to do contracts and private practice and different things as I am branching off into a new level. So I'm so excited about
Yay.
that. And I look forward to becoming an author. I have written 3 chapters of a 5 chapter book, and I just have to continue to do that. And I have some other things in the fire. So I'm just excited to be here and excited to just pull off of your expertise as we dive into this topic today.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay. So, of course, today's topic is all about daddy issues. We want to talk about um, the impact an absent father has on a female's life, his daughter's life. Daddy issues is normally used as a negative phrase um, towards women when they encounter relationship problems, because they have problems interacting with their male counterparts. They have problems with relationships, and it's it normally stems from them being in a dysfunctional relationship with their own father. So hence, and they normally are attracted to older men because a lot of times they're looking for that father figure they never grew up with. Hence, she has daddy issues, which is a very negative thing. So this is what we want to talk about today. So again, I will just reiterate that, daddy issues is a phrase that's a negative connotation used to refer to women that have complex, confusing, or dysfunctional relationships with men. So, would any of you like to opine?
Well, I guess I can.
I, yeah.
Well, I can definitely relate to daddy issues. I guess I didn't realize that my father not actually being in my life affected me until I got older. Honestly, now in my life, as I'm going through a transition and as me being a mother now, me wanting the best for my son, and I go back and look at just the things that I've been through as a child and things I've been through just in life, and as far and also just the relationships that I done had in my past and how it hindered me. I guess I'd been doing some shadow work, and going through my shadow work, I literally was ripping off layers of situations that I've been through to see what was it like is because I'm starting to not just point the finger at who hurt me. I learned to try to take accountability in myself, and then I go back to wow, like how I was treated um, as a child and just who was around. My my stepfather, he's been around ever since I was 2. My actual father, he wasn't around. Um, Me and my actual father just we got connected when I was 13. However, he was still in and out. Um, and I was disappointed, because it was just like, um, are we doing this again? Like, it ended up becoming a thing with me to where anytime a man was to leave me, um, I would I would do crazy things just to keep the relationship going. Um, and I look back at that and I just think about just how much I wanted my actual father to be there and him not leaving me. But every time he left me, he went back to jail. He went back to jail every time. So he's a repeat offender. He's actually incarcerated now again. So I definitely can relate just to it in general. It had definitely affected a lot of my relationships that I was going through when I was younger. Um, I was in I was, I see myself, not see myself, what I was in relationships that were toxic. It was a
Mm-hmm.
repeat of toxic relationships over and over again. I was 14 years old. Living with a 21-year-old and he was abusing me. Um, and now I see where the patterns was because even after that relationship, some way, somehow I end up finding somebody that was just kind of like my last abusive and just a continuous cycle. So when I noticed that, I just look back and it's like, wow. And like you had said earlier, you had spoke on how women want older men. I That's the only thing I did want was an older man. I was 14 dealing with a 21-year-old. Anybody that I was dated was older than me, So daddy issues are serious. And I didn't realize how serious it was until I actually got time to really talk to my dad, my biological dad. And just the conversations that I have with him now, for some reason, it gives me this childlike feeling like I get so happy when I talk to him. It's like, oh my gosh, like we're connecting, we're bonding, and it's like it's that little girl that wanted that bond for so long, and for some reason, like this bond that I have that I'm getting with my father now, I feel like is aiding in my healing process because
Yes.
I wasn't able to. I really wasn't. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
That,
And I thank you for sharing that and letting us know that. And because sometimes people think when it's a daddy issue or just when a person is missing, that it has to be a total absence.
Mm-hmm.
So when you started talking about it, it made me think about the fact that we need to clarify for the audience what exactly does it mean with the daddy being missing? Because, like for you, for example, you had a stepfather,
Yes.
but you still longed for your biological father. And then your biological father was in your life, but he wasn't constant.
There you go.
So, that is something. So when I was thinking about daddy missing, where are we going to go with this? Because, a daddy could be in the house, which you had a daddy figure in the house, but then your real father could be in the house, but yet be emotionally unavailable
available,
Yes.
right?
or be a workaholic because he was raised that mom does all the nurturing and care of the children, and his responsibility is to work all the time, work all the time, work all the time, so he doesn't engage with the children.
Mm.
You talked about incarceration, so that's another reason people are missing. um and yes, like you said, your father's a repeat offender, and sometimes that becomes a way of their life because they don't know how to get out of that cycle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So that's their life. So prison is like their home. We hate to say that.
Yeah.
And um we look at movies like Life, and we can see the comedy aspect of it. But when we really look at that, when some of those people were about to be released, they rather die than to be released.
Mm.
We looked at that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes.
They didn't know what to do on the outside world.
Mhm.
So, and then you have to think about the fathers who left a relationship, like you talk about, you were involved in toxic relationships, and they don't know how to co-parent. They don't know how to be a part of their child's life without being drawn into toxic situations.
Mm.
Or by default, the child is abandoned, but not because the parent or the father doesn't love them. It's because, come on, let's be real, ladies. Sometimes women use children as what? A pawn.
That's
Yes.
fine. That's a weapon. You're right. You're
And
absolutely right.
so therefore, you don't want me, you can't see my child.
Mm.
And so some daddies are made not to be a part of the children's lives. So when we look at all those factors, I was like, wow, there are so many
Mhm.
reasons or ways that a daddy could be missing.
Mhm.
And all of them lead to one thing, though. The child, the daughter, particularly when we talk about a girl with daddy issues, feeling abandoned and rejected.
Yes.
Right.
And where a father is the first man, we learn how we should be treated and how we should be loved from.
That's
He's
right.
the first example,
It's our first love.
our first love.
Our very
And
first
Exactly.
love.
and without that, as a young girl, you started looking who I need a man to love me,
Yes.
not even knowing that you were looking for a daddy to love you.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
just knew you wanted a man
That's
to love
right.
you.
Yes.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And I'm glad you said that because, I have daughters. I have three girls, right?
Mhm.
And I was married, so I got married young and I was divorced young. And so their father really wasn't around like he should have been. He was a part time. And so I remember telling him that, you should be doing the things like having daddy daughter dates. You know,
That's right.
take your daughter out to a nice restaurant. Make sure you buy her nice things so when Mo and them from around the corner pull up on her and want to take her to the Olive Garden, she's not impressed. She'd be like, "Oh, is that all you got?"
Okay.
Daddy, when he pull up with some sneakers, they gonna be like, "Psh, boy, bye. My father buys me," because that's how sometimes we as women, especially young women with father issues, get caught up. And it is
Mhm.
always the older men, though, which is why, speaking to you, Angelica, why they were always, because if I'm 15 and Johnny 15, Johnny can't buy me things. Johnny can't. But if Sam, who's 19, 20 years old, can come out, take me to the movies, to dinner, and all this other stuff, I'm going to be feeling like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
exactly.
you get attached. You have this unhealthy attachment because you can't really separate the two. So you end up in this toxic relationship.
Mhm.
And my father, was a part-time father as well. And so I didn't even realize that I had daddy issues until I had daddy issues.
Mm.
And it wasn't, it it wasn't a thing with older men. It was more so afraid of letting go. If I was in a relationship, I kind of tended to cling sometimes.
Exactly.
Even if the relationship was bad, I kept thinking I can make it work. I can
Yeah.
make it work.
Yes,
Make it work.
exactly.
Instead of realizing that I deserved more, but it was only because my father was so in and out of my life.
Mhm.
But there were some things that he did pour into me that kind of also helped me have some type of a boundary. Like, I knew for, like, one of the things he always taught me was, if a man don't put food on the table, that man don't eat, right? So there were certain things I knew to look for, but there were certain things I didn't know.
Mhm.
Coach T, you kind of quiet down there. What's going on?
Ready to jump in? Y'all ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Yeah, because I think I have the other side of the perspective. I don't know if it's other or just alternative, right?
Mhm.
But full transparency, I was worried if I was going to be able to even fit into this conversation, not having had, daddy issues myself, or my sister not having had daddy issues. But, in the frame of how it affects young women, right?
Mm.
It's striking me in many different ways. And I think that is tremendously unfortunate, that our black women, our black queens are experiencing this and going without the love of a father, right? My daughter isn't even born yet. She's due on December 2nd, and I can't
Oh,
imagine. Yeah,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
it's an honor, but I can't imagine going without having a relationship with her already,
Yeah.
right? I would have daughter issues if I went without her. So that,
I love it. Yes.
Yes.
it wouldn't work. But the conversation has me thinking about, different experiences that I've had in my past. One with one of my exes who felt the need to control and do the things that you were talking about, Passion. It was talking about holding on, and in her case, trying to control me and trying to
Exactly.
manipulate my mind. And I think that it was a result of the lack of relationship that she had with her father, being that I don't think that he was so much absentee. I don't know too much about the situation, but from the outside looking in, that connection just wasn't there. And after her mother passed, right? Her mother
Mm.
passed when she was, super young. Her father was ready to move on with his life. And I don't know how much of a bond he spent. He was like way older when he had her too. So when he got a new wife and was ready to move, we're from Jersey at the point. He moving down south, but leaving his two daughters and his son, upstate. I
Mm.
don't know that she knew how to interact with me. And, when you're in the thick of things, it's kind of hard to identify and diagnose different psychological things. But looking back at how toxic that relationship was, it makes a lot of sense to draw it back to that relationship that you have with your father. And if I compare it to my sister, she's just in a different space. I wouldn't say better or anything like that, but I think that the relationship that you have with your father plays a monumental role. And one thing that I want to say is that, I can recall conversations that I've
Mhm.
had with men, right? And it's not by accident with some guys that they end up with a woman that has daddy issues. I've heard people
They prey
literally
on that.
say, They prey on them. Exactly. They will ask,
Mm.
what is your relationship like with your father? And they're looking for you to say that it's
Mhm.
not that good. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm.
they
Mm.
know that they can come in a position of power. They can influence you one way or the other, get
Mhm.
what they need, and then leave. And that's heartbreaking,
Mhm.
right? That's heartbreaking, but it's almost said so casually. Like, there's
Mhm.
so many things that men and misogynistic people do, and it's just so normal. Like from Bill Cosby, like you just get the pill, like just put it in a drink. That's what you do. Like it's so casual. You just find a girl with daddy issues. That's what you do. And
Mhm.
in the moment it's so heartbreaking that it doesn't really trigger you right then, but we're growing and we're learning, we're becoming more aware and more sensitive to these things. But they
Mhm.
do exist, and there are people that are looking for women with daddy issues, and that's not for no reason.
Mm.
Mm,
Mhm.
Ooh.
yeah, it's and it's I think at some point too, because one of the signs that a female could have daddy issues is her not being able to recognize her own self worth or having self esteem issues,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if if they're looking for them, and I've always understood and believed that um men know when a woman has a low self-esteem or when she
Mhm.
doesn't value herself enough. So it's
Definitely.
it's not too hard because they're what is it, telltale or tall tale?
So,
Telltale.
Okay, so they're telltale signs that
Exactly.
women and men too emit. So and I was and through all of this going on, I sometimes wonder, we already know because the whole focus is always on, and I guess us as women, we always feel like, and like I said, I only have girls, but so many of my female friends that have male children, they can have male and female children, but their whole focus is, I can't raise a man, I can't raise a man, I can't raise a man. So society sometimes ping it and say, if you have a male child, that male child needs his father in his life. And they oftentimes forget that females need their fathers just as much as that male child needs his father. And so it also led me to think, can men have daddy issues? And I'm quite sure they can, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Of course.
but it would manifest itself in a different way.
Differently. Mhm.
Yeah, So I guess if a male was to have daddy issues, he might end up just being what they call a roughneck, a thug, or just out in the street, and something to that degree. But I'm not exactly sure, but I do believe that men can, but you would never hear a female say, "Oh, I ain't messing with him no more because he had daddy issues." Right?
Right. And while you guys were talking, I was sitting there thinking about it. I don't know if you guys saw the last show that we did. It was talking about fathers and missing men and who taught us to be men. So me personally, I made it transparent that I grew up without a dad. So as you were talking, I was sitting there wondering, now, do I have daddy issues? Now, truthfully speaking, I know damn well I do, because I ain't had no daddy. So I got an issue with that. And I have a real issue with that. Like for real, for real. Like I mentioned that it kind of is traumatizing because every day you have to build yourself up and kind of create who this man is without an example of what your biological father even look like, act like, characteristics or any of those type of traits that you will resemble, and create this whole new identity for yourself out of not knowing who you are. And it all starts from your parents. You follow, what your parents do. You usually ended up like them or being better than them or something of that nature. So yes, men without fathers do have daddy issues, and they do manifest themselves in weird kind of ways, which is something that I think I want to explore more as I'm learning myself as a man, because I'm sure it would be in the area of being too much, too dominant in some areas, and trying to represent myself as a man to women in the void of that, even as I'm raising a young man, which is just, it's kind of weird. But so yes, men without dads do have daddy issues.
Thank
I
you.
Mm.
wanted to
Thank
I wanted to tap in on that too. if able, if you stick around, let me know if I'm on base or anything like that. You know, I did have a father in my life, and we had a great relationship, and I'm grateful for that. Right, you
Hmm.
know, being able to tap into certain emotions and have a masculine, you know, protective energy. Like, yo, it's okay, bro.
Right.
Like, it's good. Like, you know, you can be you. You're allowed to be human and be a man. What I'm witnessing from like a lot of like my friends, a lot of people that, you know, maybe don't have the same type of relationship is exactly what you said, is that they're seeking what a man is and guessing and going for, you know, what's readily available and what's most popular, right? And
Hmm.
that's typically what you see in movies, what you see, you know,
Yep.
saying in music and all that stuff, and it tends to turn into this overly masculine, you know,
Yes.
bravado that people are labeling toxic masculinity. And then on top of that, then you have a problem with the term toxic masculinity, because it's I think kind of hard to understand masculinity at its core. So it sounds like the term toxic masculinity is an attack on masculinity altogether, when
Mm-hmm.
there
Mhm.
is a difference. It's this overly dominant, like you're saying, like,
Hmm.
you know, need to control, need to be that guy, especially for women. And what I'm finding interesting is that when a lot of the guys that I'm interacting with, especially on social media, are in that space, they tend to value the opinions of other men more than, you know, women, especially when it comes to dealing with women. Women will say, hey, this is what we're feeling, this is what we're going through, this is what we're experiencing. And men will like skip all that. Like, I gotta be an alpha male, I gotta be this, I gotta
Right.
be this. You need to get in your place, play your role, do your thing. And we don't want to hear nothing about that. And it's more so a show for those other men to kind of prove that I'm a
Hmm.
man, I'm masculine. And I think, you know, to in conclusion, that it all wraps back around to just proving to ourselves
Mhm.
that we're meant to have fulfillment in our expression, and, you know, being that person where we could have known just looking at my father, like, you know, you just get to be human. Like, it's cool to just be you. You're a man by at birth. Like, there's nothing you need to do to prove that you're a man.
Mm.
Right, and even that in itself, like, you know, most men have been indoctrinated with the thought of, oh, being, you got to go out, be the breadwinner to be the quote unquote man. You know what I mean? So that was the thing. If you wasn't making the money, you wasn't a man. If the woman was making too much money than you didn't feel like a man, feeling demasculated and all that kind of different stuff. But you know, I guess topics and discussions and podcasts like this helps to flush out those type of myths, because, like, you know, it is a journey, like literally creating an identity for yourself. Like, my son doesn't have to figure out what his lineage is. If you want to, you know, I can tell him my bad characteristics, the stuff, the for him to stay away from. I don't know what I inherited from my dad. You know what I mean? I literally don't know what part of me is from him, and that leaves me in a kind of a whirlwind of wondering. Well, I know my feminine qualities that I embraced because of my mother, and learned to adore and appreciate women from that standpoint. But the other side of me, I'm sure, was probably overcompensated because I'm void of an example.
Mm.
Right. And you know, it's sad because, you know, in our culture there are more and more um households that are ran by women.
Hmm.
Correct.
So, you know, so back to, you know, the and there are there there are psychological challenges that come along with females that have daddy issues. Sean, you want to tell us about some of the psychological issues that that women go through as a result of not having their fathers?
Sure. Well, one, you tapped on, you tapped on the low self-esteem. Because low self-esteem, when you don't feel valued, when you don't know who you are, it then makes you feel, it leads into other things. So women are more depressed, they have more anxiety, they're worried more. As a minute ago I heard someone saying how even men worry about the opinion that other men have about them, but women are worried about um what men think about them. Are they meeting the standards, quote unquote, of what a man would be looking for and those kind of things? Because again, they didn't get that from their father. So they're anxious, they're depressed, they have low self-esteem. Some of them even develop eating disorders. I know you're
Mm.
like, what does that have to do with it? Well, when you don't know who you are, you are afraid to eat because you're trying to be a part of what society deems as acceptable, or so you develop poor habits because you're trying to maintain your weight, or you're trying to be this model type image, because again you're trying to attract love, but you're attracting it from the wrong way. You're attracting it from your physical attributes. And again, if somebody only wants your body, then that's not the man you want anyway. But we don't know that because we're
Exactly.
dealing with all of these other issues within ourselves. So we think even when somebody just loves our body, we think, whoa, I'm being loved. So there's also a confusion of what is love.
Mm.
So there's a confusion, and there's a lack of understanding of what it really means to be loved. So we get caught in this false sense of appreciation, value, and love, and then we crash. And so then you have women who, when they have done all that they think they are supposed to do to find love, they have a whole psychotic break
Mm.
because their needs are still not being met.
Right.
And so they thought, oh, if I do this, if I do this, if I you know, I have to just smile at this because I heard you all talk about being the alpha males, but some women will buy love because you don't know what else to do.
Right.
So if you're making money and what have you, you feel like if I can dress this man, feed this man, if I could find a man that has potential and
Mm.
make him be all of what um I need him to be, then I'm willing to pay for it. But we can't change a person's will. That's the first thing we have to understand. You can't will somebody into loving you. The other thing we have to realize is that it doesn't matter how much we make a person or change a person, that's the outside of the person. Who that person is on the inside, the real nature of that person, that's still there.
That's right.
So we have to understand, I was watching something and a man said, you have to understand when you're choosing people, women, you have to understand what is a project for you, what is your promise, and what has potential. We should be seeking promise. We shouldn't be seeking potential or projects. If you got to fix him up, and you think by fixing him up he's going to stay with you, you fix him up and he good. You brought him new teeth and all. Now he go find another woman. So now he's good. But you were like, if I just fix his teeth, he has the potential to be fine. So you have to
Mm,
know the difference. But all of that is centered around, who are you? And we don't know our identity, because many times our identity is linked to the absence or the feelings of abandonment or rejection from
mhm,
our father.
And that's very key because a lot of times and I'm gonna say we as children, um, we take on this feeling of why he's not here. Is it he don't love me? Is
Yes,
because we can't fully comprehend and understand what the adults in our lives are doing.
exactly.
So all we know is daddy's here one day and now he's gone. And as a 5 or 6 or 7 year old child, we're trying to figure out, did I do something wrong? Did I say
mhm,
something? Did I do something? And
Yes,
it's not even necessarily that. And then like you said earlier, Sean, um, women can be so, and I'm we gonna keep it real. We women can be nasty. We can make it so that the man won't want to come around because he'll be like, look, if I have to go through A, B, C, and D every time I come to see my child, I'm just not gonna come see my child.
Yeah.
And I'll wait till my child get grown so that way they don't have to interact with the mother to have but see, by that time it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed you when I was 7. I needed you at 10 years old to be there at the parent teacher field day, the conference. I needed you there when Bob with the snotty nose kept pulling my hair, and I didn't know that he was pulling my hair because that's a sign that he
He
liked.
likes me.
Right. we didn't know these things, right? And if I only see you here and there, then and that could be another reason why we as women, when we go through or have these daddy issues, that we hold on so tight because we we when we were little, and I'm speaking from experience, right? On both ends, me as being a raising daughters and having to co-parent, and as a young child, remembering when I was told, get dressed, your daddy's coming to get you, or he's coming to see you, and I'm all excited, and
Yeah.
then when he left, I would be so depressed and so sad because I never wanted him to leave. I never wanted him to go away because I never knew when I was going to see him again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I found that in my life and raising daughters, I kind of overcompensated because I'm an alpha female because their father wasn't around. So I tried to always go above and beyond to kind of fill any void that they may have because I knew that longing and that pain. And I remember this one time, my ex-husband and I got into this fight because he said he was gonna come and see them and get them. And I remember telling them, y'all get yourselves together, your dad's gonna come. And they would go out to the balcony and look to see if his car was there. They would go out this down the stairs, and we're gonna go downstairs and wait for him. And they would do these things and he would never show up. And I will always be left with seeing my children deflated and crying and hurt. And that would just send me off the Richter scale because then I would remember when I was a little girl and what I felt. And I would pick up that phone and it would be Beirut up in my house. I'm
Yep.
cussing him out. He's everything. And now there's another effect because now they're seeing me cuss him out and
Mhm.
tell him you ain't gonna never see these girls again and blah 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 blah. And it was only because I wanted to protect them from that, you
Mhm.
know. So it there's the it's not a clinical type thing, but it's a real thing.
Well,
Daddy issues are real.
but it is clinical because in that instant, I feel the pain still. So that was traumatic for you.
Yeah.
So that was trauma. So two people can be in a car accident. One get out of the car, and they're like, um, okay, my car right, all right, I'm okay. My car is okay. The other person in a car accident is like, I don't want to ride in a car again because this car was real bad. This accident was real bad to me. So, don't nullify your emotions because to you, when your dad didn't show up, that was a traumatic event for you. How do I know? Telling the story right now at your age brought you to tears. So that was traumatic. That was traumatic for you. And see, I want to talk on the flip side because my father was there, but my father was one of those fathers that was there, workaholic and emotionally not available
Yeah.
because he worked all the time. And so I overcompensated because I was like, when I get a family, it's going to be family time all the time, family time all the time. even my daughter's like, "Oh my God, Mama, I'm tired." You know, because I'm always everything is family time, family time, family. Come on, let's watch a movie. Come on. I find shows that I think she likes, and I say, "Okay, tonight I found a show." You know, let's
Right.
watch. But that's overcompensating because I wanted family time. I
Hmm.
wanted times when everybody sat to the table and ate dinner, and what have you. And the funny thing is, I can remember my dad telling me, "You watch too much TV." Because I watched the TV shows and they sat down and ate dinner and all of that kind of stuff, and so I wanted that. I longed for that. I longed for that kind of stuff. And granted, we did do some family trips and that kind of stuff, but on the most of the things, it was me looking to my mother to be there because he worked all the time, traveled all the time, long hours, what have you. So I had things that I did where I was trying to when I get older, my family is going to this, my family is going to this. And so um I know even as a counselor, I brought some of that into my marriage. I'm divorced at this time, but um and so even when he was dealing with my child, like you, I understand, Nisi. If you didn't show up, I was upset. Like, what do you mean you can't come again? Like, nope, I'm
Hmm.
bringing her. Where are you? I'm bringing her where you, and she's going to see you right now.
Right.
And you can just tell her you're busy, but she needs to see you. She needs to know that when you say, "I'm coming to see you on Saturday, I'm coming to get you on Saturday," that she will truly see you. Now we can make up something else for why she's not going with you, but let's make sure she sees you. Let's make that kind of part. Um, let's make that a reality. So it is a fight, trying to keep those things. But again, it's something. But I'm talking my head off. But before we end
Right.
it, because I see the time going, I want to talk a little bit about how it's so important for women to heal from this. Because,
Before they heal, though, let's
okay,
tell them, you know, how would they recognize some signs to
oh,
say,
that's
hey,
good.
I have some daddy issues. There's certain signs. But before we get into that, we have been just talking. Angelica, you want to share any more or anything? And
Well, um I can just share what it is that I did to recognize the signs that I
Good.
had daddy issues. So how can I say this? I Me and my child's father, we are not together. However, we are co-parenting, and he does great with our son. However, I I wanted the relationship. He really didn't want the relationship, but I did. So, with me feeling that rejection of someone not wanting to be with me, it took me back to my past relationship that I was before that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
So,
was thinking about how that relationship went. And because it's going to come a point, it's going to come a point in your life where you're going to want to really get the answers. Like, you're going to really want to know what is going on. Like, is it me? Am I doing something?
mm-hmm.
So, because when you start seeing a cycle over and over again, it's not always them. You have to start
That's
turning the
right.
finger back to you. So, it was crazy because I was praying to God, and I was just like, I was telling myself, like, I want a relationship, I want this, I want to get married and this and that. And it's like every time I get in a relationship, it doesn't last, or they don't love me, or stuff like that. So I asked God, I was like, what is it that I need to see within myself? So next time that, you know, God wants to send me someone, um, I can have better discernment, you know, and be able to make a better choice in my relationship. So um I would say watch out for the cycles. Like if you're constantly seeing
Mhm.
a situation over and over again, or you're constantly in relationships, and I truly believe that this is a lot of females that find themselves in different relationships, but with the same, it's like different relationships with the same face, kind of like
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
hope I explained that right. You know, you're in a different relationship, but it's going the same way as it's been going.
It's
Mhm.
the
So
same.
once I
Same
was
person,
able,
different bodies.
there you
Yeah,
go.
Yes.
that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when I was able, so it's crazy because it was like, oh, it was getting juicy with me, like, oh my gosh. So I was this way in this relationship, and you know, because I went back through all my relationship, and I was going back to how I was treated and how and what was going on in those relationships. What was I doing? And I found out like, dang, I did the same thing in every relationship. So ding ding ding, I found out, I'm like, okay, why was I doing that in every relationship? And then I went back to my childhood, and I went back to just, I want that love.
Mhm.
I wanted this love so
Yes.
bad. Like it was like I was I was I was willing to do anything. And I think I'm probably not the only one, but everyone, I think every woman wants that dream wedding and that dream man that
Yes.
just, you know, so
White picket fence.
yes, yes. So it's like, it's like I always dreamed of it, but never was in the scenario to have it. So taking some time out to really know yourself, and that's in my ebook. That's actually the first chapter. Just knowing yourself and knowing what it is, knowing your flaws, knowing the things that you do, knowing the part that you played in the situation as well. And then you gotta go deep, go back down deep to see why is it that you do these things? What makes
Yes.
you do these things? Is it because, you know, because we gotta understand as well is that, you know, I I I think I really got into it after I had my son, just me wanting to train him up in a proper way to where my baggage isn't on him, my hurt
Mhm.
isn't on him.
Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
I had to go back and look into my relationships with my parents because um it's it's so important, and it breaks my heart to see how our parents are, how parents are in general, and the lack of love that they give their children because they're so disconnected because
Mm.
their parents was disconnected and their
Right.
That's right.
parents was
That's right.
disconnected.
That's right.
So when I realized the big disconnect, I said, boom, I said, this is the generational curse that needs to be broken.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I always thought it was
Broken.
wealth in
Yes.
my mind.
Ma'am. Yes,
But
ma'am.
it was as it's that because we have to understand that our children, God blesses us, God blesses us with our children, and you never know what that child is to grow up to be, you know. So when we're not right, because we are our children's first teacher, you know,
Mhm.
Yes.
when we not right, we end up creating
Yep.
destruction in that
Yes, we do.
child. So I dealt with a lot of anxiety, and I heard Miss Shine, she just spoke on like some of the things that happens, the effects of daddy issues, and you know, me being anxious, me having anxiety, me not knowing, you know what, you know, when you're anxious is because you don't
That's
know
right.
what, you know, I'm not sure. And then, you know, when my father was my biological father, when I had first met him, I was super excited. Yay, you know, we can get to know each other now. And then he goes away for years. Then he come back, pop back up like it's not nothing. And it started to make me resent him. Like, if you're not gonna be here, if you're not gonna stay, don't even try to come back. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, it kind of formulated into my relationships. Um, Kind of formulated to my relationships because it was like any little thing that a man was to do, and it's probably some petty situations. Like it made me like, you know what, you do something and you're gonna leave. No, you're not about to leave me. I'm a Coach T Spice, you was saying control. I wanted that control. Like, you ain't about to leave me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daddy kept
Mm-hmm.
leaving me, and I'm not about to keep going through this. Once we in it, we in it. You know, so it's really really serious. A really really serious situation because we have to understand that, you know, in the first development stages of our children's life, you know, they're soaking in so much information and so much
So much.
energy, so much, and that is what shapes them when they're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
That's what shapes them. So we really 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 have to just be okay with going back and doing that shadow work and going back to, you know, and embracing the fact of the situation that you may have went through. And I love how you talked about, you know, you expressed yourself, Miss Passion, just about how you feel, and how Miss Shine expressed that, you know, you're still feeling that because it did something to you emotionally. It was
Mm-hmm.
like a chemical imbalance just happened because of that situation. It's a
Yep.
trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It impended into your DNA. It's there, you know, but we're able to alternate our DNA. We're able to change it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, by going down deep in the root of the cause and fixing that daddy issue. So, woo, it's a lot. It's deep, but
Yeah,
yeah,
So
yeah,
much, isn't
yeah.
it? It's so
it is.
deep.
You know, but see, and then there's also the other side of it, because you have some people that become so disconnected that they come
Mm-hmm.
across as just cold, right?
Yes.
And
Cold
that's
blooded.
cold blooded, and that's one of the things women with daddy issues seem to have. They have these. There are three types of attachment issues that they have. One is called a fearful avoidance. Some women with daddy issues will have a fearful avoidance, and that just means they're they avoid getting close. And when challenges arise in a relationship, they tend to run away from it. They're the ones that had the gift of goodbye. They be like, I'm out.
Yep.
They're not even
Out.
trying to work through it, right? And then you have the anxious and preoccupied one, and that just means
Word.
that they feel unsettled, and they also tend to
Mm-hmm.
be clingy, and
Mm-hmm.
they always worried about being left and rejection and things.
Mm,
So that's another attachment issue with a woman that has daddy issues. And the third one is called dismissive avoidant. And some women with daddy issues that develop that type of a attachment style, um, they avoid conversations and they're dismissive, and
mm,
they're more likely to navigate uh, um, serious and have serious trust issues,
mm,
Yes. Yes.
and they're afraid to depend on anybody else that don't want to be hurt. Now, those are the three attachment styles for women with daddy issues.
mm,
But some signs that you may have daddy issues is you're promiscuous, you use
Mm-hmm.
sex to feel love, you
Yep.
have trust issues, sick, unhealthy partners, you have trouble setting boundaries, you're possessive and clingy, and those are just some
Other side.
issues, some signs
Mm-hmm.
that
mm,
you might have daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like Angelica said, if you recognize that you have any of those signs, you may want to go back and do some healing work to heal from that pain so that you can find that love that you're so looking for, that
Mm-hmm.
felt like you never received as a child. And remember, it's not your fault. You are
Yes.
not to blame.
Mm.
your father was not there, or if he was there, that he was emotionally available, because you have some women whose fathers may have passed away. So
Mm.
that's something that's beyond
That's right.
anybody's control.
Yeah.
But that doesn't negate the fact that they're still longing and looking for that connection and that bond. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way sometimes is to hear men talk about women that have daddy issues. Well, why do they have daddy issues? Because 9 times out of 10, their father wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And as a single woman, if I'm if I'm dating a man and he has kids, one of the biggest turnoffs for me and will have me walk away quick, fast, and in a hurry is if you don't spend time with your kid, if you're not active in your child's life. That is just not something I will ever tolerate. If you and I are dating and you have kids and I say to you, how your child doing with, and you go, I don't know what's going on with your child. You only, nah, no, we're not doing that. And Coach T Spice, as a male, um, having dating, and of course you settled and wifey get ready to have a baby, and like you said, it's a little girl and you're gonna have daughter issues, and I love it.
I love it too.
So,
Right, in your past dating women, if you ever dated a woman with daddy issues, did you ever try to say, hey, you might have some daddy issues, come on, let's get you some help, let's get you healed? Or did you just be like scared and run away
You,
from them?
you know what's interesting is, as you were talking about the avoidant attachment style, right? Before I met my new fiance, I was talking with someone and things were going great. I thought things was phenomenal. Actually, I had just gotten out of a long relationship, a 5-year relationship that was one that I was not supposed to be in for that long, right? So
mhm.
I was really open minded and really open hearted to the next person that I was going to meet. I was really attracted to this one person. Conversation was dope. We had been intimate, a couple times and stuff like that. And just one day, out of nowhere, we was having a conversation. She was talking about some challenge that she was going through in her life and everything like that. And being into mindset and into psychology and being a coach, I know better than to, you know, kind of say, "You look, me too," or "I understand" and stuff like that's a very it's a very shaky place to be in when you're dealing with
Yes,
stuff like
yes,
that,
yes.
because it can like diminish their unique experience and stuff like that. So I
Mm.
knew better, but just with the slip of my tongue, I'm like, yeah, man, I remember experiencing something like that in an attempt to like resonate and connect on that level. And she was like, don't you ever, assume that you know what I'm going through and stuff like that. And
Ooh,
immediately I
Yep,
was
yep.
like, you know what, you're right. Like, you're right. I know better. I may have experienced something similar, but I'm not in your shoes. I can't never say that I experienced it just like you.
Exactly.
So I own up to it. There was no fight, no resistance on my end, but
Right,
she
right, right.
really took it to that whole nother level. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So she's like,
Mm.
I don't know if I want to talk to you anymore. Da, da, da. I need to talk to my mother about this. And, you know, just, I was like, all right, do what you need to do, right? Because we not married and nothing like that. Like, I was having fun. I thought you was too. Everything was good. We was really vibing. So I let it go for the night. The next morning, I figured it'd blow over. You talk to your mom, and we could just get back to business as usual or whatever. Message in the morning, I don't never want to speak to you ever again. She blocked me on
Ooh.
all social media and disappeared. I'm like, what
Oh
the hell was
yeah.
that?
Wow.
I'm like,
So,
what
Oh
was that?
Lord.
My head was spinning, and it started. I'm glad that I was in the space that I was in at the time. Being introspective and mature enough to say, yo, is that me? And I checked myself. I checked all the little angles. Saying it's like, Tal, for the most part, you good. You good. Like, she got
mhm,
something going on. Don't take that personally. Still
Mm-hmm.
hurt,
mhm.
still stung, still was a
Yes,
shock to the ego and everything like that. But ultimately, is it I'm not an expert. I don't know exactly what was going on, but it seems like that's an issue with daddy issues. And my only other experience with that was just the opposite. I'm gonna hold on to you. And I was
Mm.
here for it. At that time, I was a lot younger. I put myself in a position where I needed to prove to her that I was worthy of being in her life. And I think that the only reason why I had to prove it was because she wanted the
Yeah.
control. So if I needed to prove my value to her, then that means she controlled whether I stayed or whether I left.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I figured it out and I left. But I think that that was at the root of that as well. But my other relationships, they've had pretty healthy relationships, with their fathers, and yeah, I guess that. But I guess what I can say is, if I wasn't engaged and somebody was having daddy issues and things like that, I know that it's not my position to fix or try to change anybody. Right.
Exactly.
I'm not getting a relationship to be anybody's therapist or psychiatrist. And I do believe that if you feel like your partner needs to change in order for you to have a happy relationship, you in the wrong relationship. So
Oh,
There you
yes,
go.
she may need to
And
seek help and all that like that. I'm supporting you in finding your help. I do it for a living. I know that, it's too close to tell. You're saying it's a conflict of interest. A lot of times we so close to the person, they get defensive, right? Oh, you don't know nothing.
Mm.
You don't know me. This, that,
well,
and other. And I just don't play that game. I don't play the I'm your partner, but I need to change you and fix you also.
Mm.
I need to love you as
I
you
agree
are.
with you. Now now say that.
that was yeah. Then
And
that's
so,
cool.
Definitely.
so I agree with you that you should never, and that's mistakes women make, especially when they have daddy issues. Like I said before, they might try to see potential in people to change them to be what they need. But like you said, even when it's a woman and you see she has some things, you can't change her. Now I don't agree when you said you're in the wrong relationship, but but if you can't take it, the best thing you can do is be respectful and let them know that you feel it's not working, but not say, like my cousin said, Passion said, you have daddy issues, you need some help. No, that would like blow up the house too.
Okay. Like what
So
you
no, you
say?
Well,
would,
see,
you
but
know,
that would be the better than him getting in the street with his friend and be like, because you just don't know, right? I've heard so many guys refer to women as, "Oh man, she crazy, she this, she." But where does that come from? Because see,
I got it.
I believe in the principle of cause and effect. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So if I'm acting a certain way, there's something that caused me to
Mhm.
act that way. I believe in that principle wholeheartedly, right? Cause and
Mhm.
effect. What happened triggered this.
But that's true. But I do think so. Any men listening, I know my cousin is really trying to be helpful. Do not go to your mate and say, "Hey, you have daddy issues and you need help." Please do not do that. Now, you can listen to what some of what Coach T said, as far as you could say, you know, I see you're really struggling, would you like to talk to somebody? I'm not necessarily the person to talk to about this because I'm not a professional, but I would be willing to go with you if you need my support in that journey. I that might work. But if you're not the person cut out to do that, then I do respect Coach T for saying, "Hey, I got to say bye," because rather than cause you both to be miserable, and also cause more damage to the woman, it would be better to just respectfully find a way to positively part ways.
Mm.
Um, and speaking of damaging, um, when Nisi was talking, and also when you, Coach Angelica, was talking about healing, it's so important. And so many times we want this relationship, we want to be loved, but we're not ready. We're
Yes.
not ready to be loved. And
Exactly.
so before we get these people and then we're trying to hold on to them, or we're trying to um be Inspector Gadget because we're trying to find out where were you last night because I don't trust you and all of that. We have to do something with ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that comes with us being healed. And the trueness of it is the reality is you have to go to the source. And both of you mentioned that. But the reality of going to the source means I have to be able to look at, okay, look, the fact that I didn't have my dad, that caused me some real issues. Rather it meant he wasn't there, he was in jail, he died, he was working all the time. My parents were divorced, and now he all of a sudden disappeared. Whatever it is, you need to be able to look at the situation. But in looking at the situation, you have to pull your emotion out of it. You have
Mm.
to be able to look at it objectively where you can say, okay, my daddy wasn't there. He goes to jail all the time. Okay, that's not a reflection of me. That has nothing to do with me. He has some issues with his life.
Yes.
He is making bad choices for himself. As a result, it's impacting me.
Mm.
My dad works all the time. Okay, where did he get that mentality that he work all the time and that's his role? Where did he get that from? Then you look back and say, oh, you know what? I think my grandfather worked all the time too. I don't remember seeing him a whole bunch. And now you're able to objectively look at it. Then Nisi, like your situation. Um, did somebody teach him how to be a father? You know,
Right.
was this how he raised all of his kids? So was it
Mm.
just me? Or was it how he raised all of his kids? So, then when you take your emotion out of it, you're able to then say, okay, whoo, this is what's going on. It's not solely about me, but it impacted me. Then
Mm-hmm.
then you move to the next step. Okay, how? How did it impact me? Because that's important. It's important for you to know, ooh, I don't trust men no more. Um,
Mhm.
ooh, everything you do, I'm like, ooh, that feel familiar. You
Yeah.
don't, So it's important for you to know how. So, like, I know that I was like, oh, we talked about the picket fence. I'm gonna have this great family. We're gonna have family time, family dinner, blah, blah, blah. So. And none of that makes it right. None of that makes what you're looking for and longing for, none of that heals you. So you need
Mm.
to know how is it impacting you so you can work on that. Okay, realistically, does everybody want to be in your face all the time? No, Chantel, they don't. They don't want to be in your face. They want to have lives outside of you. Yes, part of their identity is they're attached to you because you're in a family. The other part want to be a friend, a skater, or whatever. They want to have other identities. So you have to be aware of that. And then once you understand and say, hey, okay, boom, I know how it impacts me. I know where it came from. I am able to see this whole situation. Then you can take back your power.
Mm.
But
Come on.
we are so busy trying to control other people to love us and give us what we think we need, when the reality is, if you have power over you and your emotions and your healing process,
Mm.
then you're able to navigate through the relationship, because that's what it is. It's two people trying to navigate through, but you can't navigate when you all and like
Exactly.
getting that title of crazy, getting that crazy title, because we're not healed. And then
Ooh.
you have to allow yourself to be able to feel, because that's when you were talking about those attachments. Because we don't feel like we have power, we will make sure that we attach in these dysfunctional ways so we can have fake power, and we
Mhm.
can control, which we think we are controlling because it doesn't work, the situations, because we're afraid to truly heal, and we're
Mm.
afraid to truly feel, because when we heal, we open ourselves back up to feel. And we have to be able to say, it's okay to feel. It's
Yes.
okay to be hurt. It's okay. And the last thing, and the most important thing, as we talk about how you get into toxic relationships or dysfunctional relationships or whatever, you have to surround yourself with positive people.
That's
Mm.
right.
When you surround yourself with positive people, then your mindset changes and you become positive and you're able to begin to see yourself through positive eyes. But
Mm-hmm.
you keep yourself in these dysfunctional relationships just to say, I have a man, you you are going to forever feel worthless, forever feel rejected,
Exactly.
forever feel abandoned, because
Mhm.
those relationships feed into those negative things because that's what they provide. They don't
Exactly.
provide you anything healthy. So that is what you have to do. If you truly want to heal, you have to walk through those steps. And
Mm.
I heard you, Coach and Angelica, saying many times, looking through that shadow. We don't want to look at that shadow. It's dark.
Yeah.
We want to pretend like the darkness that follows us doesn't follow us,
Ooh.
but it does. And
Hmm.
one of the most important things that all of us said is what you feel exudes out of you.
Mm.
And people, even though we think we're masking, people see it.
Ooh.
That's right. They see it. They do. They
They
do.
sure do.
Yeah. The vibe doesn't lie.
Exactly.
Because when
That
they
is a
say
fact.
what they say what's in you will come out. So if it's in
Mm-hmm.
you, it's gonna
Exactly.
What's
come
your
out.
inner world, your outer world.
Mhm.
That's
That
right.
part.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
Y'all talking that talk, huh?
Yes. Woo, Lord.
Good Lord.
I am so excited about this show. I mean, I just think that we have touched so many things. And I want to again tell you all thank you. Coach T, thank you. Thank you for your input. Thank you for all of the things you shared with us. Coach Angelica, thank you. Thank you for everything that you shared for us, with us rather, and had to say. I appreciate it. And Passion, thank you for coming real, sharing yourself and everything. And before we leave though and wrap up this whole show, I want to allow Passion to say something, and then we'll do our closing remarks and get us out of here. But this has been a powerful, powerful show. Oh, I
Yes.
don't want to forget while I was saying thank you. And thank you, Abel. I don't want to say because I don't want to forget later to say
Right.
thank
'Cause-
you to Abel.
right. He done kind of disappeared on us. I just wanted to say for Coach T and Coach Angelica, um, if y'all could put y'all information in the chat room, so where they can reach you, how they can reach you all, right? And Coach T, you're gonna have to come back and we're gonna have to do another show because while you said something that made me think just that quick. Oh, that's the topic right there. But you was like, I'm out. I'm like, no, wait a minute. What happened to we gonna love all the hurt away? And then I started hearing that song. It's a song called Love All the Hurt Away. That's there it is. We gonna talk
You
about
might not be
Oh,
equipped to
yeah.
love the hurt away.
you. Hey, we gonna love all the hurt away.
Yeah,
Love it. But
let's
no,
make that happen because you can try to let her hurt away all you want. Let's make the conversation happen.
Okay.
Try it if
Better
you
to.
want to.
but
They
yeah.
gonna hurt all your love away.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't I'm not crazy? Isn't that a song? Don't somebody sing that song? There's a song.
I haven't
It's an
heard it.
old. I'm old school, so that's like one of them 60s, 70s song. I when we grew up, we couldn't touch the stereo. It was all our moms had to touch it or whatever. We had to listen what they had to listen to.
I
But
haven't heard
yes, please give us your information and Coach T Spice. We're gonna have to have you back. We're gonna have to talk about some money things and some financial stuff. And oh yeah, look, he got the little shoulder going on. And Coach Angelica, you must come back again. We must do another show where we talk about healing and all of that good stuff. I
Yes,
mean, y'all
yes.
have given us a lot, and if you all are ever interested in me and Sean coming on your shows and being speakers, we're more than you know, ready, willing, and able. So, did you just put your information in the chat room, and we're gonna make sure any of our listeners that listen to it know how to reach you, how to get in touch with you all, and I believe Coach T, you offered Able some one-on-one, so y'all can work that out, talk that out. But I'm gonna turn it back over and thank you to my lovely co-host, my cousin Sean. Come on, baby, take us.
Okay, and I want to say one more thing also. For people who may not look in the chat, if you all want to quickly just at least give somebody your website,
Yes.
I would like you all to say it out loud because some people just do not do all this tech savvy things. So you could probably just tell them your website.
Absolutely. Mine is mycoachtspice.com.
Okay.
And we would be remiss if we did not take a word
And
for
I'm
our
my
sponsor.
coach T Spice on all the socials as well, TikTok, Facebook, Talmud Spicer actually on Facebook, and Google. Google is your friend.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Angelica, for those people who may not look in the chat, could you just make sure that you tell us your email or your web page and how people can reach you out loud?
Yes, yes, yes. So you guys can find me at Heal with Angelica Watters podcast on Facebook, Heal with Angelica on Instagram. Um, my LinkedIn will be on my social media platforms, and you can also um, reach out and check out my podcast, Heal with Angelica Watters podcast, on your favorite podcast stream, and also check us out on YouTube, Heal with Angelica Watters podcast.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you again for coming. And I know Abel was getting ready to tell us that we need to have a word from our sponsors real quick. And then after that, I'll make sure that we close out the show. And again, thank you all for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome
Yes,
to
thank you
Empire
so much.
Marketing, your one-stop shop for all your online business needs. To the right of me are some of the services we've been providing for the last 20 years. Are you in need for affordable business solutions? Looking to increase your online presence and social awareness? Or maybe want help with driving tons of organic traffic to your website's products and/or services? Then contact our expert team to learn about our various services created to meet your exact needs. Our graphics and marketing professionals have tons of experience in creating eye-catching logos and branding materials. In addition, we create professional interactive ebooks and ebook covers for Amazon or self-publishing. Have you ever thought about creating your own online coaching or podcast services, but don't know where to begin? Are you a physical trainer, or a certified coach or therapist? Or maybe you're interested in becoming one? Well, we provide you with quick and affordable solutions to do just that. Our team can build you a solid brand, and generate a reoccurring subscriber-based membership website for you and our company that's tailored to your specific practice and/or profession in less than a week. Now you can have your very own professional online video e-learning platform, providing in-depth instructions, tutorials, trainings and online lessons in any profession or niche of your choice, creating you an endless stream of passive, residual income while you sleep. We'll even show you how to attract new high-paying, high-ticket based clients for your business without
Okay, well, I am so glad. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you know that Abel, he is actually the owner of Empire. And so I just wanted you all to know that all the things that you see, how, he's our producer. So the things that you see, our intro, things like that. He's done that. So, anybody have any needs, wanted to just give him shout outs for that, because he continues to help us grow and make the show better. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to just recap because we had so much going on in this show tonight, and it was awesome. So for those of you who maybe missed something, we talked about daddy issues, what it means to have daddy issues, and how women tend to be dysfunctional in relationships as a result of daddy issues. We talked about just what are some signs. If you're too clingy, you might have a daddy issue. And I'm not going into all the signs, but just giving you a little taste of it. We also talked about the need for us to heal and understand the source of our daddy issues in order to be better people. And on top of that, we also talked about the positive impact of a daddy and what it looks like. As Coach T shared with us, how he's going to make sure his daughter is always feeling like she's loved and valued. So we want to say to fathers too who are listening, that it's so important for you to be a definite part of your child's life, no matter how you have to do it. Fathers are important not only to boys but to girls too, so that none of us, girls and boys alike, have daddy issues. We are so excited that we brought this to you, and we want to say good night, good night, good night, and see us in 2 weeks. And we will have more great shows in store for you. Thank you so much.